Welcome, folks! This Christmas episode on Irish Country Life,
we are diving into Ireland's rich traditions with a modern twist.
I'm taking the plunge, literally free diving into the cold Atlantic waters to pick up some scallops and have a festive Christmas dinner with some chestnuts.
I crafted traditional spiced beef with a local beer before returning to whip up a show-stopping whiskey pudding.
It's festive food, countryside charm, and a taste of Irish heritage, all wrapped up into an unforgettable Christmas episode.
Let's get started! Okay, we're doing a massive family favourite right now. Spiced beef. I think long ago they did it because you had a lot of merchants coming in on boats to Cork into the harbour, and they were able to use the spices and the salts to keep the meat on the boats for longer. So it's just a really, and I don't know when we started having it.
I was driving home about 20 work. I used to work in a factory in Cork, and I heard it on the radio. They said it was a traditional Cork thing. I never heard about it in my life. I stopped into Dunnes Stores that day and I picked up a small piece of it because it was Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And we came home, we had it on Christmas Eve, and we did it the traditional way, which is with the drink, which you can explain.
Yeah, so afterwards, first of all, we have to cure the meat. So we're going to cure this for maybe 3 to 5 days. The longer the better. And then we're going to cook it in Guinness.
Guinness is the porter, its drink is called porter, for all of Ireland. But there are two drinks which come from Cork, that's Murphy's and the Beamish. Murphy's was the fancy one, Beamish was the cheapest one. Beamish is what it should be cooked in, technically.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know if you can get Beamish anymore, can you? Okay, we'll have to look for that because I actually haven't got the drink anyway.
But there might actually be, there's a few West Cork breweries, so there might be a local porter.
A substitute or something. Alright, so I have everything sort of put together here. I'm going to put a quick list together of what I've got because I've weighed them all out, just ready to go. Really made up of your salt, your spice and your sugar. And then we're literally just going to rub it into this and then put it in the fridge for the 3 to 5 days. But first of all, I've got to grind up these juniper berries and the black pepper. So I'm going to put everything into here and let it grind up together. Oh man, they're going everywhere. Oh, the mixer. Look at this. Right, we're looking pretty good. So I'm just going to let's dry it off a small bit. Literally just came out of our freezer. This is a round roast. Why am I using a round roast? I think you can use anything really, but they do say flank is very good. But anyway, this is what we had. We have a lot of these left. So we're going with this. So I'm just going to tip this over each side and rub it in. Getting it all into the crevices as we go. There's a great smell of it. Never made this. We've only ever bought it. I think we have bought Tom Durkin's ones from the English market a few times. He does a really nice one. So if you haven't tried Cork Spiced Beef, then you should, or have a go at making it. Now, that's looking pretty good. Now, so that's going into the fridge now for 3 to 5 days. We'll see how it goes, see where we're at, and then I'll get it out and we'll cook it. So I'll see you in a couple of days. So we're kicking off today with Christmas pudding, but this is a very different Christmas pudding. One, because we've put what we want in it, and two, it's going to be many puds rather than one big pud.
The big problem with Christmas pudding is it's an acquired taste. It's one of those things that
I hated when I was younger.
Yeah, because it's really steamed. It's full of kind of really sharp, strong flavors, like really like dried fruits and cherries. And typically, you pour brandy on it, you set it light. It looks great, but it's a very dense food, and it's just not something that's appealing when you have all this chocolate and confectionery at Christmas. So what we're going to try and do is maybe to lighten it up a little bit and to make them more unique and not just a big mass. But let's see how it goes. We've never tried this before.
Nope.
Let's do it.
I've never made a Christmas pudding.
At all?
Ever.
Okay.
So this could go terribly wrong. Right, let's go. We kick it off with the mixer. I'm going to put in the butter and sugar and get it all creamed up. The ingredients for this I'll pop in the description. There's a lot of ingredients and a lot of different measures, so rather than tell you what they are, this is brown sugar, just dark brown sugar, and we're going to get them mixed up nice and creamy. Right, so the butter is all mixed up and again stuck to the mixer, but anyway, it's all mixed up together. You don't need to, it's fine. We're going to put in 3 eggs.
Just imagine what butter and sugar looks like.
Yeah, we all know what it looks like.
And
then basically everything else has to go in. So I'm going to put in the eggs first.
Are you going off the one-handed?
Oh, see, I've just made a mess and it's gone in.
That's two-handed. If you did it one hand, you would have been fine.
I got it.
Amateur.
I got it.
If you're going to watch someone on YouTube, watch a professional chef.
Look at the size of that.
You
wouldn't want to crunch on that now, would you, Trish Murphy? No.
Anyway, sorry. It takes one whack straight in.
It's gone all over the countertop.
Yeah, but is there any shells in there?
No, but...
No. Now, one hand, Claire. Let's do it. One hand. Oh, she's... Oh, look at this.
Crunch.
Ledge.
It just ends up like a crunchy mess. Anyway, in my hand. Oh.
You just need a bit of confidence, Claire.
Stop it. Now my butter is just sticking a bit to the sides and everywhere. So I'm going to push it down. It's kind of sped up around the sides, which isn't. So we've got the eggs.
Hang on. Let's be honest here. Claire's trying to look professional, adding things a bit of a time, but when the cameras are off, everything just goes in.
Chuck it all in.
Why not try that? Let's keep it real.
Okay. And when you're in a rush and you just want to get it done.
Are we in a rush?
So the eggs are gone in, 3 eggs, the spice, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger. Ground almonds in. Molasses. So I've decided to half the amount of sugar I was putting in, and I'm using a little bit of molasses.
Kiss molasses.
Little bit experimental, but I think it'll be quite nice. Not all of them do. Some do.
You're going a bit overboard on the molasses, are you?
I quite like it.
That is going to go everywhere. Do you want to lick that off?
No. No, really not. Really nose. Molasses in, and then we had a slight problem.
Major problem.
In that he didn't have an apple.
So what's the next?
He asked for an apple.
What's the next thing to an apple?
A kiwi.
Which was all that we had.
So we didn't have an apple. I even searched the freezer because I thought I had some frozen ones. Gone. So a kiwi's going in. This is what I mean by slightly experimental. But anyway, in we go. You know, this could be the next best pudding. I'm just going to put them in at the end. Then this just plain flour and baking powder in. And I'm going to just leave it there for a second to mix it up. Grated lemon zest is going in. This one is way better. Right. Lemon zest in. It's gone all over the table.
What kind of a wonderful day is this? Look at that. Look at the sun shining. We're very blessed to be living in such a wonderful place and to see the sun shining in on our work surface.
Blinded.
Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely day. Lovely, cold, very cold, cold winter's day. Alright, let's get back to it, Claire. And while we're here, how about you model your Christmas earrings for everybody?
Check out my
How cool are they?
Christmas trees. Anyway, we're going into the whiskey. We're using 100ml of whiskey, and this is Bushmills. This is the oldest whiskey that ever has been, isn't it, Rob? The oldest whiskey that has ever been. From the 16th century or something.
In 1608, I'm not sure, you can see it there, a license was granted to Bushmills, and there were licenses granted before and after, but this is the only one that still exists. So it makes it the oldest licensed whiskey in the world. It's an Irish one, it's from Northern Ireland. It is gorgeous. It's triple distilled. It's a proper whiskey.
That and Jameson's. Okay, anyway, whiskey's going in. Fruit's going in. It's 300 grams of fruit. Cranberries, mango, dates. I found dates in. I found dates. And dates bring back some really happy memories from when we were living abroad.
Date. Oh yeah, living abroad.
What?
What? Go on.
Where we used to live, the road where we lived, it was lined with date trees. Are they called date trees? I guess they are.
Palm trees.
Oh, palm trees.
Palm trees.
Palm trees have dates. And in the mornings, we would see, like, there was branches of them, wasn't there?
There was, yeah.
Anyway, one morning we got up super early, went for our normal walk as we do, and
in the dark,
we managed to clip one of the branches and bring it home. And when we looked at it, they were the proper medjool dates, which are meant to be fabulous. And they were fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we were able to let them.
A little bit more background on the story. The palm trees were on public land, so technically they're owned by the government.
Yeah, we didn't steal them.
We normally went for a walk about 6:30 or 7, but this morning Claire went at 5:30. And we normally don't carry a knife with us or a saw on a walk, but this morning you did. So if anybody had seen us,
yeah.
And it wasn't just a small handful of grapes-sized dates.
Whole branch.
It was like almost a meter with hundreds of dates.
Yeah.
And they didn't collect them actually, so they just fell to the ground
and marked the footpath, and the birds would eat them.
Yeah.
So we just couldn't understand why. Now there would be other places where they used to net them and they'd fall into the nets and then they'd remove the nets. So anyway, dates are gorgeous, and so that's why I put them in.
Did you buy them?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't have them, no?
No.
Okay.
So dates, mangoes, raisins, and cranberries. Not many raisins.
And kiwi.
Oh, and kiwi, yeah. And lemon zest.
This?
And this is breadcrumbs. So that was the last ingredients to go in. I think it's like 70 grams or something. I'll put it in the description. This was just an old loaf that we had hanging around here that I had made a couple of days ago, and it's gone stale. So I never knew that you put breadcrumbs in pudding. Anyway, listen. First time making a pudding,
I wouldn't put breadcrumbs in pudding, but it soaked up the alcohol, I suppose.
I suppose so. So that's our pudding mix. It's actually quite interesting because it's quite green and orange from the mango and the kiwi, so it's quite colourful.
It's Christmassy.
Christmassy, yeah. So that is the mixture. Now, the way we're going to do this is we're going to bring out with the little teacups. I think I might have told you, we have loads of these from the house. And what's very interesting about these is that they're Carolina pottery.
Are they?
Yeah. And the plan is I'm going to cook them in these. I'm going to fill this half full with water. I might have to put it in a bigger tray if I don't think there's enough water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But they
what's the history of Carolina for people that don't know?
I actually don't know.
Really?
No.
So this blue and the white, that particular colour, I'll try and find if I can find a mug, but it's just a white cup and it has blue stripes and it has matching bowls which are white mugs with blue stripes. They became synonymous with Carolina pottery. Farmhouses and cottages throughout Ireland would have had these. So Carolina is a town in Cork where we're from, and it is the most popular, I would argue, because it was quite affordable at the time, pottery in Ireland. It opened in 1928, and in the 60s and 70s they were huge. They're exporting all over the world. If you have a small cup, bowl or something, do let us know, because they're very rare, they're hard to get, and when they do come up they are expensive. So you could be sitting on a little gold mine. And from the 70s then, there was a bit of a decline, I think globalization or something. There was more imported things coming from UK or France, or there was sets that were being mass produced, and people used to think that these Carolina potteries, they were kind of old, and they your house was poor if you had Carolina pottery. So when we were looking at houses, we'd always see these smashed in the back of cottages,
Yeah,
they just would have been thrown out because they didn't want neighbours to come in and see them
blue and white stripes.
But lovely to find them, and at some point we'll get a nice set of Carolina pottery. It'll look great, I think.
But they're not going anymore.
No, they shut down actually.
No.
They kind of shut down from the 80s. I think there was a resurgence. There's another potter, a guy called Stephen Pearce. He'd be fairly renowned in Ireland for expensive stuff, but I think he took over the factory for a little bit in the 80s or 90s.
Oh, okay.
And there was a few small pieces that were made, and I think around 2000 they shut down.
Hold on to these. So we'll spoon the mixture into the cups, and then it's a case of into the oven for a couple of hours.
The kiwi looks weird, doesn't it?
It does look a bit weird, maybe. So they are going into there. I'm going to fill this tray with. Going to fill this tray with water and cover them with this grease-proof paper. It's not too big. So we've got the water in, sort of halfway up the handles, and then we're going to wrap it up like a little parcel because they have to steam.
And then you just roll it down on top of itself. That's pretty airtight. Just fold it down. Easy to know who wraps Christmas presents in this house, isn't it? Now, that's a perfect Christmas present. Bosh.
I suppose if it was a bit, you could always put another layer on if you were a bit worried about it. But I think it's okay.
What temperature? 150?
150.
Fan assisted?
For 2 hours, yes.
Okay.
So we'll pop that in and we'll show you later.
So folks, this is coming up to one of my favourite times of Christmas. Spiced beef time. And is there something out there, let us know below, just like one particular festive food that's only to your region? Like we could say there's an Irish tradition, like the mince pies we made last time completely didn't mention to you guys, but apparently the mince pies are an Irish tradition. So that's something we can be proud of, and as Irish people we can be proud of that. But as Cork people, which is a small geographic region in the south and southwest of Ireland.
But the largest county.
The largest county. Some people call it the People's Republic of Cork. The surreal capital of Ireland. Sorry, Dubs.
Without a doubt.
But spiced beef is to Cork, I think. It's like quintessential. I think you mentioned it was because Cork is a kind of a maritime county, and they would have been putting this out.
Massive harbour where the sailors and that came in.
Second biggest in the world, I think.
Yeah.
Only to Australia.
Sydney.
So anyway, there was a lot of like kind of salting and seasoning and spicing of food so that it would last, and I think spiced beef was one of the things. I heard pirates used to pop in for to pick up a bit of spiced beef and then head on off to Spain to raid a few villages. I don't know, is that true? Actually, while we're on that subject, the area we live now in West Cork was synonymous for slave trade. So Spanish, North African ships used to come across. They'd land in some of these small villages and they just steal all the people from West Cork. I have a book over there on piracy. It's really, really interesting. There's loads of coves as well.
Well, hopefully we'll take you to one of them. Actually, we may have been swimming at a few of them.
Like hundreds and hundreds of years old, they've carved footsteps into the rock so that the pirate ships could land. There's a place down here actually called Spanish Cove, because there was the biggest raid, I think. They took 300 people or something. But anyway, back then, way back when Bushmills was created around the 16th century, Cork had a bigger sort of a kind of a maritime trade in fish and in spice than all of Ireland put together. And it was easier for the Spanish, the French, the Africans, even the Italians to land in Cork, do a whole bunch of trade there with their kind of peers, with the kind of north sort of Icelandic people as well, I suppose, will come down. It was easier for them to land here than to even go anywhere near Dublin or London or whatever. But that all collapsed. So even though it's a very rural place we live, it's very quiet, like the ports and the piers and the coves and the infrastructure you can see from hundreds of years ago. It's phenomenal.
Stories.
So that's why I like these sort of local dishes, and that's why I love this spiced beef. And Claire, I got to say that although small, is an amazing job. The smells.
Well, it's very different how it went into the fridge. It went into the fridge bone dry.
Oh, really? The smells are really kind of like, it's almost sweet, you know, you're getting the cinnamon.
Yeah, this recipe actually is from Myrtle Allen. She was I suppose the start of Ballymaloe. She's now passed away, but Doreen Allen, her Doreen Allen, her daughter-in-law, then took over Ballymaloe, and now we have Rachel Allen, obviously, who's and a number of the others who are involved in the big setup there, which is, it's a massive cookery school, very well known all over the world, and a big restaurant and a hotel where you can go and stay. And they also have a grain store where you can hold events and this kind of thing. So it's a massive business there. But we lived very close to there, and this recipe came from there, and I just really liked it because it was really simple, and everything was very. She described in the recipe how Myrtle made it, and it's just lovely. If you get a chance to look that up, Myrtle Allen's spiced beef, that's where it came from.
So anyway, if she's made it, you know there's a bit of quality involved. So this is one of the recipes we steal from someone else. So thank you. Are we going to pop it in?
Yeah.
Or is there anything else to go with it?
No, it doesn't say to wash it off or anything. It just says pop it in and fill it up.
What do you do with all this juice?
And
that
you
looks
just
amazing.
have to let go of it, yeah.
Really? There's something that also must be done in Cork, and this is why I'm along.
She actually doesn't do this part. She puts water in and fills it up. But what Rob is going to do now.
So most people,
different.
You're either like a purist or you're not a purist. And if you ever have a Guinness stew, you know that this rich sort of, I'll show you actually. This is our Christmas supply. We buy some Guinness at Christmas time because it goes well and it's very nice on a warm evening. If you've ever had Guinness stew, and we have made one a while back, you will know how wonderful this thick, creamy and rich drink goes with beef. Now, some people say you've put all this seasoning on the beef that you actually shouldn't add anything to it. But then the other half say there's only one thing to add to it, and that's a lovely bit of porter. porter is what you call it, this sort of thing, Guinness stout. However, as the you can see it settling there now. So Guinness is from Dublin, and that has been kind of frowned upon in Cork, which is the real capital. So what you would traditionally have used is a Murphy's, which is the second biggest in Ireland, is Murphy's, and about the same price as Guinness. But then the third biggest is Beamish, and that's brewed in Cork as well. So that'll tell you something. The biggest stout producer is in Dublin, and that's for all of Ireland. But the second and third biggest are in Cork. So that tells you most people in Cork would actually drink a Murphy's or a Beamish. But I don't think you could pick up one. You couldn't find one. So
I couldn't find Murphy's. Well, look, I didn't go to an off license, but Guinness is nice too.
So what I would have done, I would have always added Beamish into this, and I added in equal parts water and Guinness. But look at that. Look at this. Is that not amazing? Are you not entertained? It's almost a sin to... You love the cream.
You have a moustache.
And this is so dense. Technically, it's considered on the carnivore diet a dairy product, so I hear. It's almost a sin to put it in. It's such a waste. I'm not going to go 50-50. I think I'm going to do 2 glasses of water to 1 glass of Guinness.
I'd say you might need another one.
It's going to evaporate a little bit. The good thing about a Guinness or a stout is that it's very dense, it's very heavy, so once you have a few, you kind of can't have any more. The bad thing about the Guinness or the stout is that it's such a wonderful taste. As soon as you get the taste, you want to have some more.
Lovely.
So we're going to put this on for about 3 or 4 hours at a simmer. So bring it up to the boil, drop it back, put a lid on, go away, enjoy your day.
Leave it alone.
Next up, I must prep for the starter. So there's something that I do at Christmas time, and that is I would go for a dive to try and collect scallops. And I think scallops on or around Christmas is just magical, and also the waters are really cold and crystal clear. So I think it's lovely kind of end of the year to go for a free dive. I went on that a few days ago. I'm going to share that footage with you in a minute, and then we come back and I shall make a starter from this. And I think in the meantime, you can go and get some seasonal veg from the garden. See you in a minute.
Let's do it.
Sun's just coming up. Temperature's about 2.5, 3 degrees centigrade, and we're on a mission today, a Christmas mission for some scallops. Let's dive. Freezing, ready to go. The day is looking amazing. My Canadian buddy is in my sun's suit. Hey Johnny. It's a bit choppy. The fizz ain't the very best. There's a fisherman over there. I'll take you down and show you what I'm looking for. Welcome back, folks. It was a chilly day. I did take the drone out, but I didn't take a shot. We were pretty cold when we came out. We stayed in the water for about an hour. The conditions weren't great. I mean, it was Storm Dara last week, so it was quite blurry. I had hoped to stay in the water for a little bit longer, about 2 hours. But today, you couldn't see anything. You'll see from the footage I just recorded, or you've just seen. We were floating on the top of the water and we were diving down. We didn't know if there was a scallop on the bottom or not. So that's not ideal. The ideal is when the water is crystal clear, you float on the top and you can see what's going on the bottom. So I'll take you back out again when we have better visibility, better conditions, maybe on a sunny day. It does help to heat things up. But we still got a handful of scallops. We got enough for the recipe. I got 8 ones here. I'm pretty happy with those. And I think you've seen this. Oh my God. This dog wants to play ball. You want to play ball? Rooney, get the ball. Get the ball. Where's the ball? And off she goes to get the ball. Anyway, I think you've seen this. You've seen Claire doing it. If you haven't seen, I'm going to quickly show you how to shuck 1 or maybe 2. You can see this guy opening up here. That's pretty cool. And then he's just going to close. That's how they swim. There's another one there. There you go. They were in about 6 meters of water, so not the deepest, but really it was hit and miss where to dive for. So the easiest way to do these, I found, is, let's get this fella. You got to be careful of your fingers. It is quite painful when this snaps down on you. So there's 2 sides to the scallop. There's the flat side and there's the curved side. What you want to do is you want to somehow remove the adductor muscle, which is the small muscle that opens and closes it. You want to remove that from the top. You go with the spoon then to scoop it out from the bottom. You can see it closes quite a seal at the front there, but you can also see at the sides, on both sides, you can slip your knife in. So you want to get it in here and cut this like that. It's not a bad job. Claire normally tries to keep this little black thing, it's the hinge, she tries to keep them intact. You can see my knife didn't do a great job, I'm out of practice, but take the frills off. They're really good for fishing. But when I slipped my knife in, I left a little bit of the flesh there. I mean, you could eat that really. You probably want to eat it raw with a little bit of lemon juice, a ceviche. So that's that. What we see in here then, we have, this is the scallop. This here is the adductor muscle. So this is actually the muscle that opens and closes it. This is the flesh that you eat. And this is bits of the stomach. This bright piece here is the roe. Now, I don't like the roe, but Claire loves to eat it, so I might keep it for her. If you want, I'll show you 2 ways of doing this. If you want, you should be able to just pull out the frills like this. And what that does is it leaves the scallop actually intact. Nice way to cook this is with some butter and garlic, maybe even some chilies. Just pop it in there, bang it on an open fire. I might do that with you at some point in the future, but for now I want these out. So I just removed the frills, the guts. You can do this with them there. I just used the curved spoon to really just get under the bottom of it, and we just pop this out. Boom. Perfect scallop. And this leaves the adductor muscle, which is what's used to open and close it. It's not very tasty. Perfect scallop. Put the scallop on a nice Christmas plate. These are so festive. So festive. Get rid of these. Also, actually, I will keep the roe. Claire does like the roe. Okay, I won't keep you there. I'm gonna fly through these. I'll show you the finished plate. Well, we're done. Have a look at this. So here we have gorgeous scallops and the roe for Claire. Or maybe Rooney. She's tried one, she likes it. In here we have the frills. These are the kind of furry bits that go around the edge of the shell. Apparently they're great for winter fishing, like for cod and stuff, so I think we're going to try that in a little while. And here we just have the guts. That's going to go into the compost. Tomorrow I am going to make one of my favorite scallop recipes, and it's also one of my favorite Christmas recipes. So we only ever do this kind of around Christmas time. If I can, I used to go for a dive every Christmas Eve, and we used to get a load of scallops. I don't know what the weather's going to be like on Christmas Eve, which is about 2 or 3 weeks, but we're going to get started with this and we're going to check back later. Tomorrow I'd say I might make the soup, so I'll see you then.
Okay, so first I'm heading to the cold storage to get the potatoes. We didn't have a great supply of potatoes this year. It's very dark in here. And my main crop potatoes were hit by blight, so I'll just take what I can from here and we'll see how we go. I keep them in here in the dark, and it seems to stay quite dry on this side, kind of on this side of the barn. We have our fridges and freezers on this side and my washing machine, so it's not too bad. Now we're going to head over to the bath for the carrots, aren't we, Rooney? We still have our carrots in the ground, and we just take what we need when we need them. We'll head over to the bath and I'll show you where our carrots are. So the remainder of our carrots are here, and we just kind of pick them as we want them. Now they are growing a bit too close together, so we'll see what we can get in large ones, because the closer they are, the smaller they are. Let's see. This one, little one. It's like somebody with a pair of legs. Wonderful day, beautiful day. Where is Rooney? Up there.
Okay folks, I am going to start with one of the best ways to combine two amazing ingredients. The first one is scallops, but before I get to scallops, I want to talk to you about chestnuts. Now, I'm going to be honest, these have been in my fridge for almost a year, but apparently they're good for another year. So these are French whole cooked and peeled chestnuts. I have done it once where I have had to peel them and they were a nightmare to prepare. I think when I bought them last year we were still making our food in the pump house outside during winter, so I decided to get whole cooked chestnuts. So I haven't opened these, so I'm as excited as you guys, because we won't be having the starter basically if these are not good. You know what? They smell absolutely fine. Look at that. Nice. Oh god. Right. They're good. Sweet chestnut. If you've never had chestnuts, yes, they have a nutty flavour, but they have a a real meaty flavour as well, bordering on a very, 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 very light mushroom. Now, I hate mushrooms. Clare loves mushrooms, but oddly, my most favourite soup of all time is mushroom soup. But I hate mushrooms. I think it's maybe something about the texture of mushrooms. It's just squishy. It's like an eyeball. I don't like it. So my grandmother used to get out a strainer, and it was absolutely amazing. So I reckon one of the reasons why I like these chestnuts so much is the soup you get. It's a really mild but spicy, well, depending on spice you put in. It's just a very wholesome soup. It's gorgeous. And then you couple that with the scallops, which add a really creamy layer to it. And a little bit of, if you can get an Italian pancetta, that'll transform it. We don't have that. It's very last minute, but we do have a streaky bacon. So combine the three of these together, you're off to the races. Let's go. So what I have is an American streaky bacon. It's quite fatty. You want a fatty. Lovely. I have got these chestnuts. This is gonna form the base. With regards to seasoning, I'm gonna go for a few Christmas seasonings. So we're gonna do the ground nutmeg. We are going to do a little bit of cinnamon. We are going to do, I'll just show you that last, a little bit of turmeric. This is a fantastic producer over in East Cork and Cove, Frank Hederman's. He has the most spectacular smoked salmon. I mean, it is to die for. So this is a kind of a chili mix, and it's a mix of hot and sweet chilies, and they're all smoked, and oh my gosh, the flavor is just, it's to die for. Spectacular. Really, really great. And then my final ingredient, which you might laugh at, it's a curry powder. Now, I'm not going to add in enough of this where it's going to taste like a curry, but if you've ever had like curried cauliflower, you know that the curry kind of elevates all of the flavors, a little bit like salt, what salt does really. A good seasoned meal doesn't taste salty, but all the other ingredients kind of taste a lot more. So that's my mix. And for a tiny little bit of, doesn't really give a huge amount of flavor. It gives a little bit of flavor, but it gives a nice color. A few strands of saffron through the mix, and it's going to be amazing. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take you over in a minute. I'm going to fry up some bacon. Oh, I do have a kind of a Polish sausage, which I'll show you what I'm going to do with that later. But this stuff, it's just very refined, very fatty, and the fat goes really well with fish or scallops. But in the beginning, I am going to get a few strips of bacon. I'm going to fry these up in a minute with some, I don't know, like onions or shallots. You see, this is my problem. Why I don't like recipes, because I kind of wing it when I cook. I think I'm going to go shallots. Shallots are just like a sweeter, more refined onion. Sometimes if you're doing onion and garlic, you want a strong onion flavor. If you don't want it to overpower things, you go shallots. So I'm going to get a few shallots. We're going to have a lot of this soup, so I'm going to go for 5 shallots. We grew a few shallots in the garden this year, and we ate them all throughout the summer, but we didn't actually have enough to keep during winter, unfortunately. So these are store-bought. We don't use a lot actually, but they are nice to have. The time is about, I suppose it's maybe 2 p.m. We have 2 hours of this beautiful sun as it sets over the mountain across the valley. And then unfortunately it gets dark, and it's just nice to be able to cook with the lovely sunlight. So we tend of late to do a lot of our cooking at lunchtime. So I'm gonna blend this. We gotta blend it for the chestnut. So I'm not hugely bothered about making sure the shallots are finely diced. I mean, that's fine. So I'm gonna get the bacon and the shallots into a pan. Take you with me. Okay guys, the smells coming from this spiced beef is absolutely sensational. It's just filling up the entire kitchen. You'll get the pan nice and hot. So, what sort of an olive oil are we looking for today? If you can spot my olive oil shelf, I think a citrus olive oil will go very well with the fish, but as it's kind of a winter one, we want a little bit of chili olive oil. Let me just get a good dollop in there. And the good thing about these induction pans is it heats up super quick. So that's perfect. Get these in. Mix that all up, making sure everything's covered with olive oil. It also reduces the temperature. Alright, well that's quite a lot of skin. Where'd that come from? It also reduces the temperature of the pan to mix the cold material and get some air in it. This is at 5. We don't want to cook it. We don't want the bacon to brown. We don't want the onions to brown. We want the onions or the shallots to go a little bit translucent, and then we'll be good to add our stock. Only one thing for it while we wait for this to cook. I suppose having a bit of stout is a Christmas tradition, so if you want to cook with love, you want to make sure the love is flowing so that your food absorbs as much as possible, and that's exactly what this is going to do. Let that settle now. This is the correct way to pour a Guinness, and you wait until the kind of bubbles stop flowing down and your head is solid. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, how are we doing here, boys? That is looking good. The sweetness of the shallots is just mixing in with the smokiness of the bacon. Shallots are still not fully cooked, still a bit raw. So we're gonna give it just a little bit more. When I was a teenager, I used to work in a bar. This would not be a good head, but you had to let the Guinness sit for about 90 seconds. Otherwise the locals would be, they wouldn't pay, like the locals wouldn't pay if there was this much of a head in the Guinness. So it had to be perfect. When you work in a bar, you can let it come up a little bit and scrape it off of it with a knife. If you see a barman doing that, he is a bad barman. A good barman doesn't have to do that. They'll get it perfect every time. First time, every time. And it's in 2 pours. You fill it up to here, let it settle, and then you will top it up just a little bit. There's an art to pouring Guinness. Not quite as done as I'd like it, but it is starting to take on a bit of color. There's a great fat that's been rendered down from the bacon, and some of the water has been evaporated a little bit from the shallots, so that's getting perfect. What I'm gonna do, just to reduce the cooking, there's a bit of leftover chicken stock. My daughter was sick last week, so we had a few homemade chicken soups for her. I'm gonna add this in. This is a liter. Is it too much? Whatever. I'm gonna go for a liter. I'm trying to see how long these last. There's probably a little bit too much for a soup, but I would like to keep some chestnuts for stuffing. Once opened, used within 5 days. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Alright, I'll throw the whole lot in. Whole lot going in, let's do it. Let's go for some nutmeg. To be quite honest with you, these were they came in a gift set. The size of them are really awkward, so we're just trying to use them up. A little bit of our curry powder, turmeric. We are gonna go in for the chili flakes, which sweet, spice, smoke, delish. And last but not least, let's get a little bit of saffron going here. That might be a bit indulgent, but we're gonna do it. Boom. Saffron, great in paellas. What's great in paellas? Fish, particularly scallops. So I feel this is gonna work very well. All right, we're starting to get up to temp. Give this a little swirl. Before it gets too hot, we want to add in some cream. All right, fresh Irish cream. It's bubbling, so we drop it down a little bit. Now we're going to let that simmer for about 20 minutes, and I shall be back to you. It's actually been about 30 minutes, and oh my gosh, the smells coming from everything is unbelievable. Look at this. So we have the chestnuts, we have the little bit of bacon, we have the shallots, we have all the spices, the chicken stock, we have the, you could use fish stock as well actually. We have the cream. Oh my gosh, this just smells wonderful. So now we're going to approach texture. So we want this smooth with just the tiniest little bit, kind of like ground hazelnut sort of a texture. And then we're going to add in the chorizo and the scallops for the heavy texture. So we're going to get, I'm not sure this is going to blend, this might make a mess, but we're going to use our hand blender. Perfect. Well, look at this. This is the consistency that you want. Kind of like a little bit of nutty sort of a consistency. Oh my god, that's so good. It's so sweet. Unbelievable. You would think that I've actually added sugar to that, or honey, but there's nothing. Right, let's bring it over. We have a very, 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 very hot stock. This, I think. That is amazing. Oh my god. So good. So this is a little bit watery. I could have gone with less stock, and if you remember, I was pausing. I could have gone with about 600, 700 ml. I added the whole litre. But I think it's lovely. So just to add to the flavour here, I have some chorizo and some scallops. The scallops are quartered. I don't want them huge, don't want them too small. You want to be able to feel them. They don't need cooking, like throw them in there. I mean, you could eat them raw, but throw them in there and they will cook through no problem. Okay. Give these a stir. And when you take a spoonful, you're going to get a spoonful of something like that. Check this out, folks. That's exactly what you want. Try and get a bit with some bacon on. Yes. So that is exactly what you want. A little bit of scallop, a little bit of chorizo, and a lot of this lovely soup. Unbelievable. Come over here and taste it, Clare, before we serve up. How good is that?
It's very, very good. Where did you get this recipe from? No, but you've been doing it for ages.
I invent them.
For a long time.
I was just saying to the camera, what kind of soup does that look like?
Mushroom.
Exactly. And what texture does it have?
Same mushroom.
Mushroom, yeah. So I love mushroom soup, but I hate mushrooms, so...
I like the
look at that. The little
chili
bits.
kick.
Yeah, that's Heather
really
Man's
nice.
chili. And then I love scallops, but scallops need something fatty to go with it. So
Yeah.
the little bit of chorizo just makes it. And it makes it interesting on your spoon as well when you have kind of different things all lined up. I think it's amazing. So, starter is done. Let's go on to the mains. What's happening?
Well, we've got some vegetables from the garden. Potatoes, carrots. They could have been further apart. We could have done with pricking them out a bit, but they are really tasty. So we'll just keep them nice and small. And then underneath these are main crop, but they were blighted, so they didn't grow as big. But they are still really nice. Okay, time to get the puddings out.
Oh, let's get them out.
Been 2 hours in their water bath. And I'm going to leave them on the counter to cool.
No sneak peeks.
Leave the water bath to cool, and when it's cooled down, then you get a sneak peek.
Alright, back to dinner. Okay folks, Clare got us some lovely potatoes from the garden, and she also got a little bit of baby carrots from the garden. Well, first I'm going to boil these for about 20 minutes, throw the carrots in on top for about another 7 or 8 minutes, and she should be done. Our spiced beef has been on for 2 hours now, so I'd say another hour should be good for it. And we have our starter soup, chestnut scallops, it's cooling, ready to go. And we have some pudding that should all come together as one. Perfect timing. That's the secret to cooking, Claire, isn't it?
Sure
Timing, planning.
Timing, not my best point. Getting everything
Cooking
to
or baking, do you think?
everything to come together at the right time. Struggle with.
Do you think you're better at cooking or baking?
Not sure really.
You getting good at the baking lately?
Maybe baking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Maybe.
You're better at the cooking.
Obviously. Right folks, I'd say we're practically ready to plate up. I'm just going to show you that in a minute, but just come on, check out this sunset. I mean, is this the most amazing place on the planet? Happy Christmas. What do you reckon, Claire?
It's amazing.
Right folks, we are going to get the Christmas plates out and serve up this magical Christmas meal. Aren't we, Claire?
Yes.
I'm going to put a few potatoes on each plate. I just tried one. They are unbelievable. Oh my god. Fresh from the garden-ish. Cooked in salt water. Unbelievable. We're keeping the carrots on, the carrot tops, and you kind of, I think it's kind of like, it's a little bit kind of salady, isn't it, Claire?
Yeah, I think they look lovely.
Yeah. Okay, here we go with our spiced beef. It's actually cooked so well. It started to fall apart. Look at that. Look at this. Just kind of like, I didn't actually want it this well cooked, but unbelievable. Look at that. Okay, let's get this.
Oh my god, it's like fall apart. It's so tasty. It's like a carpaccio. Is it a carpaccio?
Yeah.
A beef, like a sliced cold beef. I think it's meant to be lovely. It's meant to be very like that. So it's delicious.
Right guys, let's get some starters going.
God, there's a lot of soup there.
Yeah.
That's a massive portion of dinner for me.
Well, one meal a day. Oh my gosh. They say you should have soup at the beginning of your meals
Oh, that's right.
because the liquid of the soup actually fills your stomach so you feel less hungry.
Oh my god. You have to have a go at this. You need to put this recipe in the description because it's absolutely gorgeous. It's quite hot, as in spicy, but It's just...
Add chili to suit, yeah.
But I don't think you added chili before, did you? When you've made it?
No,
Is this a
my
new
mom
recipe?
won't have chili or peppers. I have made it for my extended family. I brought it to my dad's house for Christmas dinner.
Oh god.
I love the scallops. A real kind of a nutty, earthy flavour. And gorgeous with the cream. Oh my god. I love the cake.
It's
I really
gorgeous.
like a little bit of chili. And this chili,
It's very heartwarming, isn't it?
oh, it's a bit of chorizo. That's a lovely sweet kind of a. Oh my god, this is amazing. You carry on whatever you want.
Even if you don't live in Cork, we allow you to make this.
Yes.
It's really good. Spuds, my poor little spuds.
How is it?
Amazing.
So what we have here, Claire wanted a little bit of sauce, so we had steak last night, so there's a bit of pepper sauce left over. Also, Claire asked why didn't we roast the potatoes? This is a kind of a salty, sort of a ham substitute, so the meal you'd have with it would be what you'd have with like bacon and cabbage sort of a thing.
Yeah.
It's just a salty meat substitute. But it's still pork, or sorry, it's still beef, so you want to have maybe something nice with it, and I think the pepper sauce will go great with it. You wanna try some?
No. I can't get over how it was a plain piece of beef before I put all of the seasoning on it.
I can't
And the
believe you
taste
did it
of it.
either.
The spice is fabulous, isn't it?
Pretty amazing.
Well, I'm not going to eat all this in front of you, but I do want to just show you the desserts. Just decided to make a little bit of brandy cream to go with the Christmas pudding. A very much my own eyeballed recipe. This is about a tablespoon of whiskey, maybe a little bit less.
Nice.
200 ml of cream and a dessert spoon of honey. So we'll see what it's. I'm going to whisk it up a small bit just to thicken it.
I say she had more than a tablespoon of whiskey.
And you know what this is going to go amazing with? Which I'm not actually having at the moment.
What?
Coffee. This would be amazing with coffee.
There you go. Talk to the camera, honey.
So, here are the puddings. I'm absolutely, well, they look amazing. But of course, I've never made a pudding before, so I have no idea. I guess they look okay, but like, they look like any normal pudding. Rob has added the cranberry. There's a little extra.
I give you 12 out of 10 for presentation. This is an amazing way to see a Christmas pudding. And mostly so, I don't think people have teacups and saucer sets anymore.
No, only us.
We never had a teacup and saucer set.
No, they were just left here. So I've made my brandy cream, which I actually haven't tasted.
Brandy cream made of whiskey.
Oh my god. It's awesome.
Is it?
Do you want to try
one of those
some?
my spoons. My whole life, I never had cream at all. I didn't like it. I thought it was gross. It was only in the last year I realised that cream is actually the best thing for you. And a really heavy cream doesn't have lactose, so no sugars. That's really good. It's almost like a liqueur you get, like
so
a
if
truffle.
you want to put some on top, that might be nice. It's like a little cup with a little bit of cream on top.
Are you meant to try and pour it out, or have you tried that?
Well, I thought because I greased them, perhaps you could, but I have no idea. I don't know if it's going to come out.
I'd say, well, yeah, if you just give it a little bit of a... Oh,
They're still
damn
quite
it.
hot.
Hey.
Oh,
It's a little bit stuck at the top.
I'm going to leave mine in there.
Yes.
Oh. Did you try it?
Yes.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Really, really good. It tastes really exotic. I guess that's the kiwi and the mango, isn't it? Like, it tastes really different to your normal Christmas
I find
pudding.
it really light for some reason.
It's quite light.
How's that?
I wonder, could I have put more
I don't want
whiskey in? I don't think you'd want any more.
I don't like it heavy. I also like the portion.
Yeah.
It's a very good size. It's pretty good. I think this is a date, is it?
Yeah.
The dates are great. Look at that. It's nice when you can see big chunks, you know, when you have
It's true.
Christmas pudding, usually it's just a big mess. So you can see the date, you can see that's a little bit of mango, see that's a little bit of kiwi, lovely treacly batter, huh? And your whiskey cream is unreal, it's very light.
But you get the taste of molasses in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unreal, isn't it? So much nicer to use the molasses than just all sugar.
Yep.
Really, really nice. And it's not too sweet, I don't think.
Not at all. But it's not too healthy either. The delicate balance.
Yeah, they're very tasty. Now, what I do with the other ones, I think what I will do is I will maybe just wrap them up and pop them into the freezer with the cup and everything to be kept. Or maybe I don't need to freeze them.
Maeve said today, one of her community members, that they last for years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until she said it I remembered that the way you do it is you undo it every few months. Then you put a small, well, she said a baby bottle of whiskey. My grandfather probably wouldn't waste that much whiskey, so he just poured a capful over the top of it. I mean, if you want to be fancy, you can do that. You can set it alight. That's what some people do with them, but no, I like this. So, guys, I think we're going to leave it there.
Yeah. We'll just stuff our faces off camera.
And we'll see you next week for another festive foodie feature.
Yes. Slán go fóill.
Gur míle maith agat. Check this out. It's a disaster. Oh wow.
Yeah, but they also
What's the history of Carrigaline for people that don't know?
I actually don't know.
Really?
No. Do you want to Google it?